I'm installing the electrical boxes. And they're pretty satisfying to put in because they're going in quite fast. I made up a little jig. We're gonna use like our laser level and stuff, but this is going super fast. Installing second floor electrical boxes is my plan for today, at least to start with. So I just finished this bedroom's boxes. Tried to think about where we would want the furniture, possible desks, lights, all of that. Aaron spent some time today drilling holes to run our wires soon. This was kind of difficult because of our inset floor joists, but he was able to get it done.
We're real electricians now.
I discovered that this wire was actually made before we even started digging the basement for the house, so it's been around a while. We got these offset boxes. So this has enough cubic inches to fulfill the code and allows the wires to be shoved down in there, creating enough space for everything.
We got these exterior boxes and spray painted them black with like a textured spray paint, and they look almost exactly like our siding, which is pretty impressive. How well they turned out. And Aaron's working on putting them in. So he has to cut like a whole hole through the siding and then through the sheeting, and then he puts this like rubbery gasket, so it's like silly putty around it. He's got 6 of them to put in, and this is the 3rd. Also had to spray paint the screws. Go work!
These last couple of days I've been working to put up some metal plates for our recessed lights to go into. These are to help the drywallers be able to cut out the correct spots for those so they get placed exactly where we want them. And guys, let me tell you, it is difficult to think through all this stuff because I like seeing nice straight lines and things, but we also want them to make sense. So for instance, these two are just outside of the oven area. So the vent will be here, and then we've got these. But then when we have 2 others pretty close to those, I think it should be okay though, because they all are for like countertop around here. Then we were thinking about putting pendant lights here, but they will run in front of these. So those would just be for like accent lighting, and these would be for like task lighting. We have another one over here for over counter space, and then we just have one in the middle of the room, as well as one at the top of the stairs and one in front of the pantry. So it was tricky to get these all lined up and matching up with buddies and still get them in places that I want them to. But they all have at least one buddy except for this one, but it is centered above the sink and above the stove. So I think it should be pretty satisfying in the end. But it's taken me a long time to get to this point because I just have to stand there and think about it, and if a floor joist is in the way, it's problematic. So it should keep us from having to think through all that stuff later, and we can just slap the lights up there, have the little transformer boxes already, and that step should go a lot faster. These are the lights we decided to go with. I'm gonna unbox one and see what it looks like.
The package comes with the transformer box and also the 4-inch light.
Now imagine everything else around this is done, and that's what they'll look like one of these days.
We rigged up one of our lights to see how the light scatters, and it seems like it's pretty well defined up until about here. You can see the shadow goes from dark to lighter. So it's a very wide cone. I expect a little bit more like a spotlight. So this is good. These lights we got are from Juno, and they have a baffle on them so that the light's a little inset and it doesn't give you like glare to the eyes. But they also have color adjustment. So right now it's at 3000 Kelvin, and you can go all the way up to 5000 and down to 2700. We like it at 3000. And then it also has brightness adjustment. So this is high, medium, low. Keep it at high for now.
It really changes the vibes of just a concrete wall. Are you confusion?
Well, this is confusing because what covers that hole? Also, that's the wire that goes into it. So I gotta figure out where's the best spot to put the wire in. And this is all wacky doodle on the back. So the ground plug's supposed to go up usually, but I don't know how an oven cord is. I feel like the wire would be going straight up. I prefer it sideways, but it might end up straight down. And then the ground lug's up there, everything else is down here. So if I bring the wire in the top, then it's gotta go woo, all over the place. Wackadoodle.
Huh.
And the cord. The cord is so wide. It's downstairs.
Well, good luck.
This thick wires are all tricky to cut.
Tricky. This
Hard.
requires
Difficult.
muscles I don't have.
Gotta be a strong boy to cut it.
Great success.
I'll glad.
Ooh. Got ourselves a solid electrical install for our oven. Our plumbing leaked, so we had to take out our duct work. But a silver lining is putting in this dryer wire is a lot easier now. This would have been really awful to run with the duct work up here.
This is our dryer box, and it takes 30 gauge wire. I'm using this, which is rated for like outdoor use. It was cheaper than the normal stuff, but it still works. So
I started to label where all of the wires go to and from, so hopefully I'll be able to easily check if everything is accounted for.
this guy right here is the most unique box in the house because we had to attach it straight to this pole. We're going to be building a slat wall here, and this is kind of built into the wood. So in order to run our wiring, we put this in, and it's got 4 different switches in it. One is going to be the pendant over the dining room table. There's going to be another one that controls all the lights for the living room and dining room against the ceiling. There's going to be one for the pendant right here above the kitchen sink, and there's also one for the kitchen light. And most of these are 3-way or 4-way switches, so there's a lot going on here.
It's gonna be complicated. I finished the crazy box. There's 21 individual wires in here. I still need to make this a little bit prettier and more concise, but there she is. Much better.
Rather than running a bunch of individual cables like this from our main panel, which is on the other side of that concrete wall right there, we ran this big wire here. This is rated for 100 amps, and we have a separate sub panel. So all the circuits in this apartment will be from here, and if they flip a breaker, they can just open this panel, flip it back on.
I started labeling all of our electrical boxes so that way we can easily trace them back to the main breaker panel. We got a comment on one of our weekly updates to not just rely on measuring from the floor to where you put your outlets when there's going to be tile on the wall, because they might be a little bit different, and then when you tile, you might end up with like a grout line in a different spot, making it very, very visible. So I'm using the laser level like this person suggested, and it looks like this box does need to go down the tiniest little bit in comparison to the rest of them. So that's what I'll do. All better. The kitchen sconces are good. We're also fairly likely to have tile in our bathroom, so I'm checking to make sure that these sconces are at the same height and that the outlet and switch are at the same height, so that way when we go to tile, we don't have anything weird going on. And so far, the sconces are good. All right, these are also looking good. So all in all, I only had to switch out one from how it was originally to make sure that everything will line up perfectly. Our panel has these little knockouts where you can feed your wires up through, like you can see here. So with all of these wires that we still need to install, minus some of these bigger ones, they'll go through a different way, we will be feeding them in this way. And the top and bottom have that, so the ones that come from the top will go through there, and the ones that come from the bottom will go through here. That's all for this electrical video. In a future video about electrical, we'll get our panel all put together and tidied up, but that can't happen until after we have our rough inspection and do our insulation and drywall. So that one's gonna be in a minute. So stay tuned for that, but hopefully you enjoyed this video and make sure to subscribe to see other videos as we finish our house.